Been following the Elon Musk Twitter cancel free speech escapades, stock crashes.
You have?
I've been looking at it, yeah.
Originally, you thought that he threw out all the executives and the
He
average
fired
people.
top 3 executives, and he just fired 2 whole departments.
Did you see the departments? I sent you the link because he actually only fired the executives that first day, and the people who kept coming down were trolls. They walked in and then walked out with boxes full of random shit. And they were like, "My name's Ron Ligma or Roger Ligma," like Ligma balls. Yeah, they played the media pretty hard. And he's like,
but then he actually fired the
fat
human resources, the human rights department, FAT, International Human Rights Department.
How many people do you think it requires to run a corporation like that?
1 million.
No,
not 1 million. 5,000.
100 people.
100 people.
100 people.
There's no way. How
Think
many
about it.
phone calls and emails they get from users? No way.
There is no phone calls or emails. It's a chat bot that's automated, and you can't have the contact. Even if you're verified, it's not as easy.
I could call Twitter right now.
Try it. You know what? Hook it to Bluetooth. New York. They're in New York, right? No, they're California, so it's a 2-party state law. 2-party consent. I wonder if they start with this call is recorded for quality and trade purposes, then we don't have to announce that we're recording. So if we hook it to Bluetooth and it goes through the podcast and does its thing, then we will see what it is. The problem is the media doesn't show you that. The one thing about an online company is you don't need much in the way of people. To the average person, our company may seem huge. It may seem like we got 50 people running behind the scenes, lights, we got the light guy, the sound guy, the engineer, the editors, everyone running the show, doing everything. In reality, it can be done with just one person. One person could do it all. What it looks versus what it does is 2 separate things. Now, we know that Twitter's not making so much money because
other ad people are pulling now.
Not even just that. They've already declared that they were at a loss at certain years, what their profits are, etc. Elon Musk wants to raise their profits. He now owns a company. He needs to make money. People are going irate over the $20 for the blue check mark. And it was $20 originally. And then he got into a fight with, Stephen Hawking or somebody else that was like, well, no, you should pay me to be on Twitter. And he's like, no, please wait, $8. So he moved it to $8 because a bunch of people, all these celebrities, and he's like, well, still pay my $8 or get off the platform. So he stood his ground. It's his to do with now. You're all at a house party with Elon Musk.
I thought it was free speech and he's opening an open forum.
As
now
a company,
he's excluding people?
As a company, he wanted free speech available on Twitter. There was not a lot of free speech on Twitter. It was very directed. And it just had a leak that Biden administration executives had met with Twitter, met with Facebook to go over censorship and what they deemed, like a bullet point of what they deemed was inappropriate online. That is censorship. Even if you take out Biden, any military, any regime, any political party ever to meet with a center or, let's say, a press, if they went to the New York Times in 65 and were like, here's what you can't do, would that be oppression? Would that be censorship? To say that you can't speak your stories about the evil and the corruption? We've seen how these movies turn out, right?
Yeah.
But it's just coming out that these people are really doing it. And I don't think Elon Musk...
Trump's administration had a meeting with Twitter telling people to stop talking crap about him.
Absolutely.
Every administration's done that from
the
beginning of time to now.
Not right. Not good. They're trying to control the narrative. The bigger problem is Elon Musk says he's doing it for free speech. Here's what I want to do. Here's why it should be open discourse. It should be the town square and all this bullshit. No, he's in it for the money. Money is what I understand he has so much of it, but if he shows that he can now make this thing profitable that has not been profitable and it's barely running because it's losing steam, I think he offered him like $20 billion over what the stock price was, then removed the board, did all that. Didn't need to buy the company, but it was a joke, and then he followed through. You know, he brought the sink in, said, "Hey, let the sink in." If he fired half the staff, I think that company would run fine.
It's also a ton of people out of work now. Lives ruined.
How many of them do nothing?
How many of them do something?
Here's my problem, though. Is he going to fire people who are of, like, linchpin needed for this company? I don't think he will. I think he's smarter than that.
If he lets all these people go and doesn't replace their stuff, that's lost value to the company, more pressure on everyone else, and then he's going to get people who are quitting, wanting more money, and then he's just going to let them go to find someone to do it cheaper. It's the American way. It's what people do to make money, but it's going to put Twitter into an unclaimable shithole. Unclaimable.
What was Twitter beforehand?
An unreclaimable shithole. But they didn't stress people
what's
out.
the worst he could do?
And Twitter? Where am I going to get into my internet fights anymore?
Discord?
I don't fight on Discord. That's where I'm respectful. Twitter's where I go to cause some shit.
But you get my point. There's always another outlet. All I'm saying is it's been a cesspool for so long. I was never on Twitter because anytime I was on Twitter was horrible. People yelling, screaming, porn, child bullshit. I just didn't like it. But you had this like very left-leaning mentality that people would spam, bot, ratio, all your shit.
The right does plenty of ratioing and spamming as well. You can't say it's any
But
particular leaning.
in the last couple of years, it's been very censored to right-leaning parties or people.
Because they typically spread the most fake news. They do the most harassment. They say the most slurs, which is why it seems like the most slurs. There's so many old-ass white people that I see drop hard R N-words in Twitter and then, of course, get
that's
banned.
just old, ignorant people in general.
But then you can't discredit them if you're saying left versus right. They're still a part of the organization.
There are more people that have been censored that are right-leaning in the last couple of years. I don't know if it's because of the political...
Due to their actions and the bullshit they get up to on the internet.
I
seen this lady called Nancy. There's 10,000 Nancys, and she's some strange lady in the Midwest, so I'll full say her name. She would just go on people's African Americans, Black Lives Matter's profile and just say the N-word. Of course she got banned.
Yeah.
You don't need anyone like that on the internet. It's uncalled for. You can't say she's being attacked for being for the right. She's being attacked because of her racial slurs and discrimination.
So the way Elon Musk said it was like, it wasn't that he was going to unban Trump. He said that Trump never should have been banned for permanent. You know, slap him on the wrist, keep banning him 30 days, 60 days, whatever, extend the ban. But somebody with that many followers and being that he is a president should still be able to speak his mind about what he wants to speak about.
He just shouldn't spread the fake news that he was doing.
So then, delegate it, do this. But AI does all that. It's never a person. Even YouTube has shown us that AI does all of it. And they say, our content moderator team. The moderator team does nothing. Nothing.
They review what the AI does.
There is full engaged pornographic material on Twitter.
Which isn't against TOS.
But what else is against TOS? Your age restriction for Twitter is 13.
Mm-hmm. And then there's 18 plus accounts that you're not supposed to go to.
They're not marked 18 plus.
Then ban them.
I am 14 on Twitter.
Marked 18 plus, minors DNI. Do not
14
interact.
on Twitter. OnlyFan models are all I see.
Mm-hmm.
This was a whole other clip that I was going to do.
To moderate your usage.
But I've made this is a separate clip that I've done. That I'm going to do a screen record because this new account that I made is strictly OnlyFans and then advertisements for cars and like fast cars and your typical teenage boy shit. A couple animes, so on and so forth. But you do your interests in the beginning. But there's nothing that says you're interested in porn, OnlyFans, or adult content. It's like, oh shit, Twitter, cool. Like, I think if you take out a shit ton of these overly dramatic people about it that are saying, hey, my job is my life, I've worked here and I'm doing X, Y, and Z, that aren't actually fucking working. They should have a list of what they do every day, like tracking their actual work and their habits and all the money they're making for the business. Imagine their efficiency is like 5% on Amazon scale because they have those check-ins and like bathroom times and all that.
Amazon's also got.
Hold on, we understand Amazon. This is just
terrible example.
No, so imagine the scale, right? Twitter has to have. They're on computers all day, so everything should be tracked. I can almost guarantee nobody's getting fired just for random. Either you are far below the line. You can dig up
anything to fire anyone. I could fire you from your company with things I've witnessed on the property. Like,
absolutely.
I could pin anything on anyone, anytime for anything, and remove anyone for personal bias or otherwise.
Okay.
Saying that it is or isn't based on someone's work is almost irrelevant if you're
the last admin we had,
deleting whole departments.
The last admin we had.
Terrible work ethic. But also they could countersue and say we did it because the other reasons or whatever. Anybody could try anything.
Admin previous to that.
Terrible work ethic. But they could still say that it was anything else. Doesn't matter.
But they did work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they still contributed.
Yeah.
It was still livelihood. But did they bring value to the company?
Not enough.
Get my point.
The departments that Elon Musk let go from his company were international compliance departments to assist with the making sure that Twitter content abided by human rights things and international laws in other countries. They had teams that would take certain content and flag it so it wouldn't show up in Malaysia where any violence of any kind, for example, is illegal, or people who would find those videos where it's like, find look at how great this guy is. He's been doing this thing for 30 years and he's doing something that's going to hurt people.
Friday's layoffs, however, appear to be adding fuel to the anxieties of both users and advertisers at Twitter, is gutting its ability to keep tabs on who and what shows up on its platform. And the across-the-board cuts come as just the company's moderation systems are expected to be tested during the midterms. And if you didn't understand, the midterms are already a shit show as it is. We're not going to try and get back into political shit. We all know that Biden is just failing. We can agree on that?
America is failing. Okay. Trump was failing. Biden was failing.
Can we
the president
say
before them was failing?
At this very moment that Biden is failing to curb the problems?
Because it's been steamrolling out of control for decades.
Okay. But does he have the power to at least ease some of that pressure?
Anyone can do it.
But that's my point. There's things that they can do. There's actions they can take that they just won't. And they have almost a power of absolutes. They could kick things into gear. They could force companies to do certain things. They could take action. If it was
then year-long legal proceedings that won't change anything at all.
It instantly starts.
It doesn't matter if a company wants to pay their $1 million fine and keep on fucking around.
I understand.
It's deceitful and
there's all kinds of
to say that any particular president, any particular administration is solely responsible for.
I'm not saying solely. We've had. No. In no way did I just say solely.
A blanket Biden is failing statement.
Biden currently in the last 30 days. Can you agree that he's not doing so well?
That's still misleading.
How is that misleading?
You're pushing
you're trying to be like I'm hands off of this.
You always push me as the left-leaning person, but I want to know the truth, and you're asking me to make broad statements based off of things that I haven't researched. Newsom, hate him.
Why?
Because he does way too much crazy shit in California. He restricts a bunch of things. I know a lot more about Newsom than I do about Biden. The president doesn't matter to me. We have to vote between a piece of shit and a piece of shit with slightly better hair. None of that matters. He's here in California. He's doing gun restrictions, but not getting guns off the street. He's kicking homeless off of the places where they've been allowed to live the last 2 years, but not giving them an option to go anywhere. That's going to increase the drugs, the crime, the petty theft, all these issues. Those are more real, concrete things.
That's going to push them more into residential areas as well.
They're just going to live in parks now. They're going to make shanty towns and parks, and then they're going to, for lack of a better term, raid the surrounding stores and homes, and it's Viking times.
We can say, in my opinion, Biden is not keeping up his end of his position right now. He is not presidenting as a president. He is not showing strength in his office. He seems like he is very weak and not caring about the people whatsoever. He is picking his topics, in my opinion, like a cherry picker. That's all he's doing. He's picking things that will gain him favor among minorities, among...
any president will pander to any demographic they need on their side.
He is specifically pandering at a time where we need much more than pandering. There are people fearful of things they should not be fearful of.
This is why we need politicians that aren't just per-career politicians.
Exactly. But back to Elon. I don't know if this guy wants to be God one day.
He does, definitely.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Yeah, the whole like going to Mars, this and that. My opinion is the Taliban should be on Twitter.
Terrorism, no.
If they're not showing death, if they're not killing anyone, they are a religious organization, you could say, and they want
full of guns, flaunting.
Yeah. Second Amendment.
Not in every country, which is why these departments existed.
These are just, you're saying just that. It's clear that, so here's Politico's. With today's mass layoffs, Alan, if you could highlight these as I read it. With today's mass layoffs, it's clear that Musk's actions betray the words. Jessica Gonzalez, co-CEO of the media advocacy group Free Press, said on the call. She was part of the conversation of 7 civil rights and policy groups who talked to Musk earlier this week, where he assured them he would not replatform banned accounts for several weeks, and he would restore access to tools for Twitter's elections integrity staff that were previously frozen. Musk himself tweeted that the platform had already seen a massive drop in ad revenue and pugnaciously pushed back on the civic groups, putting pressure on Twitter, saying that they were trying to destroy free speech in America. Musk has yet publicly acknowledged the massive layoffs on Friday in any tweets. Twitter spokesperson did not immediately respond to the request for comment. One individual was laid off was Michelle Austin, the company's now former director of public policy and elections in the U.S. and Canada. Austin tweeted that she was in charge of helping lead the 22 U.S. midterms policy on the platform. I was responsible for social impact in both countries, she tweeted in a thread on Friday. Another source close to Twitter said the job cuts were not spread uniformly across the company. While members of the global trust and safety operations were laid off, those teams continue to operate with reducing staff. The source also said that the company still has people working directly on election safety and misinformation, and that plans in covering the 22 midterms were still in place under the leadership of Yoel Roth, a head of safety and integrity at the company. So now, to me, that says it's not equal across their cherry picking, right? Mm-hmm. That's from Politico. I am not up to date on all the firings. But to me, reading just this article, it tells me that they are not just massively firing off sections.
They gutted 2 entire departments, leaving an absolute skeleton crew on one of them.
Maybe they have faith that they're going to do all right. If I fired every employee but you, I would say that you have the capability of running that store.
And it would be
rough,
worse.
Right?
It'd be rough. Doesn't mean, it'd be good. It wouldn't be healthy for the company or me.
I understand that. But we're not in his head. We don't know. We don't know what his numbers are. We can hope that he's not going to piss off $54 billion, correct?
Yeah. This Roth guy hates the homosexuals.
What?
I was just looking him up. He hates gay people.
And he's leading the head of the security still?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he was fired. Sorry. No, Michelle Austin was fired.
Michelle Austin was fired, and now it's under the leadership of Yoel Roth, who in 2006 was in a...
Hold on.
They're in great hands. Great hands.
What?
It's a leader who openly has been
16 years ago.
He's still going to hate gay people. Is he going to go on record and publicly say that he loves the homosexuals now?
In the last 16 years, is there anything?
Is what?
Is there anything in the last 16 years?
For what?
Mr. Yoel Roth.
He's got a bunch of news in there. I'm not going to read all his news on the podcast. I'll peruse it later. I'm not going to read 19 paragraphs of shit. That's just his one section.
Former employee said on this Politico, I woke up this morning to find I had no access to my work computer, work email, or Slack account. Sorry. The person said, my manager texted me and asked if I still had access, so at that point, not even managers knew who was still on their teams. To replace some of the reported 4,000 people who had just so far lost their jobs, Twitter's new boss had brought in some engineers from Tesla and some investors from and friends of his. The person adding to that the new leadership had justified the firings in the interest of the cost cutting. I definitely said that. Disgruntled staff in the United States have launched a class action lawsuit against Twitter, claiming that they were not given sufficient notice in their termination. States like California and New York have laws that require companies to give employees lengthy notice before they are fired. Mm-hmm. Just to bring up another thing, why does anyone get a notice before they're fired?
In companies like this where you do the work that you do, you're supposed to get notice. You're supposed to give 2 weeks you're leaving. You're supposed to get in a certain amount of time that you're being told to leave.
But also, in business, why would anybody get a notice like this? Or why does somebody give you two?
Destroy their lives.
Okay, so
if I came into work tomorrow and you were like, you're fired, I'd have a couple months worth of money. I'd be okay. I'd get another job, but it would be a huge disruption in my livelihood.
Yeah, but so the whole giving your 2 weeks notice is such bullshit. Can we agree on that?
It's good.
Why?
It gives you 2 weeks to figure shit out and replace them.
But nobody should have to. And I saw TikTok on this. I don't know if
you don't have to. You can leave. It's a VQ, and then you disqualified from everything. The 2 weeks is to ensure that both sides get their protections.
It's typically only employees giving employers 2 weeks notice. Right?
Because typically people will leave
because employers,
when they're fired.
I'm not required by law as a small business owner to give anyone notice. It's an at-will state. California is an at-will state. So technically they'll argue that, even though Twitter's probably registered as a Delaware company, whatever bullshit, I don't know. The idea that anyone should get 2 weeks notice if they're not doing their job correctly. A lot of these people
are salaried, and that's also the difference between hourly.
I understand in a bigger corporation. There are ways they can get around that, though. They'll probably pay out a severance.
Have negligence. You got to pay a severance. You got to cash out sick day. There's a lot of stuff.
I guarantee Elon Musk will pay these people.
He didn't pay a whole factory of workers. How do we know he's going to do anything? When? I'll pull it up for you. Excellent.
Because I know for a fact that he paid out everyone from that factory.
Eventually.
Yeah, but I'm saying, here's the idea, right? You're a billionaire. You did not get there by being nice. It is shitty. Every billionaire is a shitty person. We need to just get...
2016, he also underpaid people a lot.
Everyone.
2018,
if you're a billionaire,
he still didn't pay out most of those people.
If you're a billionaire, you have fucked people over.
2014, he still had issues with paying people.
Burker, one-niner.
And cool, he's a millionaire. He's also the world's biggest
billionaire fucking people over. Billionaire fucking people over on aisle 6. Aisle 7 and aisle 8.
The more you do this, the more I want to eat rich people. You're forcing my hand here.
We understand. Dude, I'm not saying that they're horrible people. I'm just saying they fucked people over. You broke so many eggs to get there. Mm-hmm. I can assure you I have done my part in getting to where I am by having a hard fucking head. That's all I'm going to say. It is not pleasant at times. But the only way to get ahead is to have a hard head or crack a few eggs. You can't make an omelet without doing a little wrong, a little force. It's not pleasant at times, but there are times where it's like, so from his perspective, he can say, I'll fire 1,000 people. And this is something that I've done in the past where I had to make a firing of a few people. And I was like, I'm going to give them no notice. I'm just going to fire them. And if they complain, then I'll pay them out a severance. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I had to fire 3 people at one time. This is before you. If that person sees this, 2 people asked. They were like, hey, I'd like to get paid for my time. They worked here a year and a half each. And we had 8 people on staff. Things were great, but we had overhired. And I'm like, you know, I could fire the people who are higher paid. And if they complain, then I'll give them a severance. Like, here, thank you, here's some cash. 2 people asked for money. 1 person didn't. So what it told me was I saved 3 weeks of payroll from that 1 person never contacting me again. Here you go. So, hypothetically, if 80% of the people don't join the lawsuit, he just saved however much from payroll because he would have continued paying them for 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
He adds a little work. It is not pleasant, but it is math. It's all hard numbers. So he's got somebody crunching the numbers going, Mr. Musk.
To him, it's just numbers. To other people, it's their entire life.
Exactly. To him, he's a billionaire. He's like, okay, how can we cut the cost? Boom. Okay, add $8. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Aside from saving $5,000, he doesn't understand what that means to people.
He doesn't.
He can't possibly.
We already know he's on the spectrum. Him, Mars, marijuana, Joe Rogan.
Spectrum doesn't even do nothing to do with that.
No, but he's like so far out there of like being in the universe in whatever black hole spectrum he's on. He's like, oh, I want to go to Mars. I'm going to smoke some weed. And I'm just, okay, let me dress up as a demon. Like, that's Elon Musk. He's nuts. Absolutely batshit crazy. You can see it from every interview he does. He's just like, well, that's cool. Like, he's bouncing around whatever he's doing. But my point is, he has people that he pays a lot of money to be the smarter people in the room that are really making these decisions. He's doing it for a reason. He's not just willy-nilly, like, oh, let's just fire.
Reason, it's just for money.
Yeah. But there's more tactics to it that we can't see. And everyone gets so riled up about it.
All dollars.
It's all a battle plan. He would not spend a 20th of, what is that, 5% of his entire net worth. No, that's $54 billion. So that'd be 10th of his net worth on Twitter, of all things, if he did not believe he could make it profitable.
He's had a lot of really poor financial decisions because it draws in
What
money.
has he bought? I really want to know.
He's bought so much fucking shit and he's lost so much money on it, but he draws attention to himself. He gets the increased ad revenue. He gets stock prices and all his other businesses.
Oh, so it's not 54. It's $44 billion deal. See, I don't see the appeal of Twitter still. Paying $8 for that is like, I pay $10, I get YouTube Red, and I get to listen to podcasts while my phone is physically sleeping.
His $8 for the verified thing gets all the people who always wish they could be verified but weren't.
Yeah.
Like, sure, he's got a couple celebrities who insist that he needs to pay them to be on there. They can leave whatever. But he just got a quarter of the base. $8. I could be verified. And they all just threw money at him.
Oh, yeah. And that's a tenth,
a lot of money.
Tenth of his reservations. He could probably take that subscription base to the bank and get more funding for his Twitter deal from the banks. Because that's how he leverages it, right? He gets a bunch of subscriptions. If you didn't know this in business, here's a tip for you. The reason he charges you a $100 deposit on your new Tesla is he knows that only 10% of those people will follow through on purchases. But he can take that promissory note of that. I got $100,000 bill. That's 10 million, whatever. That's $100 million.
His Twitter at conservative math guessing, if charging everyone $8 is going to be over $1 billion.
So yeah, there's $1 billion there, right? He can take that $1 billion on the first month and say, hey, bank, I got $1 billion in funding that's guaranteed, even a retention of 10% to be $150 million next month. Over 10 months, that's another $1 billion. So I get guaranteed $2 billion. I want a $5 billion leveraged loan. Great interest, negative rates, doesn't matter. Let me borrow money to build another rocket ship or build another Mars. He does that. And he's good at leveraging money and income. The only reason he made a fucking fire, the thing that he didn't talk about on Joe Rogan's podcast about we wanted to make a mug, so we made a mug, we made a hat, we made a fire, what is it? This is not a flamethrower. This is a fire propellant gun, whatever. It turns out that the only reason he made that was he needed funding, and he leveraged that to get more loans to build more cars. Yeah, and he just built cars, and that's how he subsidized the business, because he put all his own money in. So he had to get some hype. He was a figure. And the whole point of freedom of speech on Twitter, I think everyone should be able to speak their shitty little minds. It does not save them from being banned. But everyone should be able to throw their little tweets out. If you want to be racist, you want to be you want to be sexist, you want to be ableist, you want to be anything. Any ist you want. Say it. Put it out there. But there needs to be decent content moderation and a proper way to ban or restrict people.
And that's not even free speech if you're doing moderation.
It's not freedom of speech. It's not freedom of consequence. I'm not saying that people can go say, I'm going to burn your house down. That's a threat. That's an intent. There's saying, hey, I do not support women's rights. I don't support abortion.
Harm towards women. That's harm towards women who want abortions.
Why is it harm?
How are you going to stop them?
I'm not saying that I'm going to stop them. If I say I don't support it, I'm not saying that I'm going to stop them. Where's the intent?
The intent is that it's a negative repercussion against women's health.
That's my personal opinion.
Their choice for their body, their autonomy.
Okay. That's a stretch.
It's not a stretch. That's literally what it is.
How is that? I'm saying I do not support
abortion.
Then
you're taking away the agency of women.
This is not the facts here, but we're using this as a reference. So if I said that, then I am supporting harm
to women and poor people. Sexual health.
I get why you would say that.
Directly attacks poor people.
Yeah. I do not see the causation with saying what my opinion is versus doing something.
If that's your opinion, you're going to vote that way, and it's going to then come into action against them.
Okay. But I didn't say...
Are you going to... It's all hypothetically.
Yeah.
If you're going to hate abortion, and then
say I hate
not...
it.
But that's what I'm saying. If this... royal we, royal me, whatever, not us in this conversation, hypotheticals. If you hate abortion, you're going to vote against abortion. You're not going to not do anything about it.
Opinion. Because what if in my day-to-day life, somebody could convince me otherwise? Why not strike up a conversation with somebody?
Because it's like talking to two brick walls yelling at each other. Both people who engage in those conversations aren't typically going to have anything that they're not going to come into a conversation with an open mind, willing to change their own outlooks. They're all both going to look to attack the other side.
I will agree that happens more often than not. But there are quite a few people out there that are like, you know what? Hey, you want to share your opinion? Share your opinion.
But a lot of those people also are goading into something and then using false debate terms and problems to try and combat that.
I find it ridiculous that so many people, like I just said, if I said that I don't support, you immediately jump to, then I am the cause, and then I am harming somebody. That is such a stretch compared.
It's not even a stretch. It's happening right now in America. Because of these reasons, because of these opinions.
I support freedom of speech. I support open carry, right? So I'm choosing my words wisely here so they don't get twisted. But the idea that everyone should be able to say, hey, F your mother has a gun on their belt. They should be able to do that. Now, if they said, hey, I'm going to kill you, and they got a gun on their belt, you just threatened to assault.
But also, open carrying is a form of intimidation as well.
How?
People don't need guns in normal situations.
See, but that's a personal problem, not an individual. That's like the person who's receiving or perceiving. Because
if some dude squares up on me and says, I hate your haircut, I'm going to laugh at him and walk away. Someone squares up on me and says, I hate your haircut, and he's got a fucking pistol, I'm going to be a lot more wary. I'm going to feel a lot more threatened.
Did he reach for it?
And he's got a fucking gun, and he's squaring up on me. Why am I getting so confronted by someone bearing a weapon? You know?
But a shoe can be a weapon.
Shoes aren't typically weapons.
They can.
George Bush survived one. I probably will too.
But you get anything can be used as a weapon. It's the way people perceive.
Dude walks up with a katana. I hate your fucking haircut. I'm going to be fucking threatened by it.
If he's holding it or brandishing it, yes.
And open carry is brandishing.
It's not brandishing. Brandishing is like, what's that? That's a term.
A lot of these people who open carrying are brandishing.
Wave or flourish as a threat or an anger or excitement. That's not brandishing.
If I square up on someone,
if I walk up with hands on hip with my pistol on my side, not brandishing.
That's brandishing.
How is
not
that
the strictest
to wave
definition.
or flourish? You understand? There's such a stretch of our thoughts to what we deal with on social media nowadays, and how people should react to certain things, and how the dots are connected that they have never been before. 10 years ago, nobody thought saying, "Hey, I don't like your haircut." Nobody thought that was a threat on a person's soul. Nowadays,
I don't like your haircut is gang related. If you look back at the history,
what?
It's also like the where are you from? These
Where are you
innocuous
from?
little question. Where are you from?
What?
They're trying to figure out what colors you're repping. You've never heard of that before?
But if you're not, the average person is not going to be that. The average person doesn't give a shit. So if I say, "Hey, where are you from? You have a nice accent," that's gang related.
It can be.
You get my point. There's such a stretch. It's almost like every couple of years.
It all depends on the
social
context.
media and the average individual online gets almost like the dots are getting further away, and they start immediately, instead of going from one point to another and connecting these, like, oh, this person was kind of doing something in a weird way. Now it's from here to here, and then here to here, and everything in between that they could have connected or could have went to a different outcome is like, no, you're immediately, you asked me about my lip color, you're bigoted. What? That's where we're going, is people are just going to immediately go, don't talk to me, otherwise you're going to get an accusation. It's driving people so far apart in any way, when it should be, I like your haircut. How do you keep it that way? And then that's gang related. Like, where are you from? I enjoy your accent. We should talk some more.
And that's different from just the, where are you from?
Where are you from?
Where are you from?
It also, the context of how they asked it, or their tone, their tonality comes into play, but nobody thinks about that. They just immediately, a man asks a woman, how's your day? That's sexual assault. Where the fuck did the world go?
It's not usually all that happens in those engagements.
But there are people that do that. They're like, I've been assaulted.
It's
He
the
talked to
vocal
me.
few who help drive us apart.
And they videotape it all the time, and it gets just so weird.
We see the weirdest shit. We take that as fact.
TikTok, what the fuck? I'm getting a lot more of the women who feel, as soon as I saw the she's living in my head rent free, I can't pick up my head. And if you have not seen, in a couple of days, we're going to have, this will be Mondays. You stay the fuck tuned for Wednesdays. You laugh, you lose. It's a gem. It's a gem. I gotta say, my head is still heavy. I don't know where we're gonna spread that money. Should we put it to the fund of Twitter employees? I bet there's a. Oh my God! I'm gonna
Give
look.
it to the Starbucks union.
That's what we should do. So I put in Twitter employee, and this is what came up.
Not really anything about
Build
Twitter.
a town square for all reality-based people. 0 raised. I'm gonna buy a Tesla and do Tokyo drift at Twitter. Graham Barlow, and then Chef Rick's medical recovery fund, and that's a picture of Steven Seagal. But there is no buy Twitter and make it a public space. There's so many people. This person has raised $371,000 for free hot meals, restaurant, and free hotel for homeless. Good for you. At least they'll have a place to stay, not in the public streets. Help. So gonna get weird. Help a Yelp/Eat24 employee eat and live. My name is Apple. I'm a chef at Miami Beach. For those of you wondering, I am not related to Talia. And I've never met her. I came across an open letter that she had written in Medium, and as I read the letter, my heart broke. I know what it is to be released and standing up for myself. For me, it was standing up for protection of others, and the young woman's story touched me. Many of you don't know me, but if you did, you would know that I'm a person who believes in the holy helping others. Whatever you do to help her moving forward, I'm sure she would appreciate it. Proceeds from this GoFundMe campaign go to Talia, period. $2,500 raised. It's just some random one. I don't understand why it's a Yelp 24 person. I have no idea, but that was on the Twitter search. So there's not one GoFundMe for the lost jobs at Twitter. Your average person who gets fired would probably start a GoFundMe, right?
Rally to buy back Twitter.
There's a lot. Oh, they got $2,400. Damn it. This person gets the W of the day by Amy Vanderpool. Amy, if you see this, hi. If you ever need anything
If they don't
fixed,
get the $44 billion, they're going to give it to Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got $2,335 of an $8 goal. What did they want to buy for $8? What was the goal? A coffee?
I don't know.
McDonald's? Or an $8 blue check? This is previous to the $8 blue check, I'm assured. No, that was created one day ago. They got what?
$2,000 in a day.
Where did they share this? There's no links, no nothing. Nothing. Women will save the world, seriously. Donated to cover Twitter fees to reproductive freedom every member of the family. Donating for 2, paying it forward to someone else who loves the idea but doesn't have the $8 to spare. I think we should all own Twitter. Please support this cause. Always funny. I love a good joke. Also, too, I'm happy PP gets my donation. What the hell? How? I want to see all the donations. $200 anonymous. A lot of $8. $200, $200, $8, 20, 20. You know, I've only donated to one GoFundMe before, and it was $50. And I felt like a bag of shit.
For donating?
Mm-hmm. Well, I did the one where the guy's office burned down, but that was a different one. I gave $500, and then everyone started being like, "Oh, you got money like that to spend?" It was in the groups, and unfortunately, some of you probably remember this. So I should have made it anonymous. I didn't, and then people started, doing the, I went up to you 501, and the guy got a lot of money. It was like $16,000 raised. Mm-hmm. Good job, but I felt for him, and it was at that time where crypto was going up. Everyone had a bunch of money, and I was like, I'm just going to take 500 and put it there, and then Shiba doubled overnight, and then I was like, okay, cool, made that money back.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. People are making it rich off of all the Twitter drama everywhere. And nobody is talking about, realistically, if this man does what he says, if he cuts 99% of the employees off of it, but he still makes it a place of free speech, whatever that looks like, then he's doing what he said.
Where's his free speech plan? I want to see it written down.
Why does he have to? He owns it now.
He wants to see everyone else's plans. Why won't he show us his?
He asked one person, and we already know how that went.
And they gave him a plan, and he said, not good
We
enough.
Already went through this. They did not give him a plan.
They gave him a booklet.
They gave him
outlining
a bullet
plans.
point of how they
That's
would.
the plan.
Because that corporation was like, well, here's how we would donate the money that you give us, less our fees, so we make money. And then Musk is like, well, why wouldn't I just do that on your behalf?
And then he didn't.
And he did. He still donated.
And none of that money showed up. It's just like with him trying to pay fucking what's-her-face. None of that money has reached its destination yet.
What's her face?
Fucking, he owed money to his ex-wife or some shit, and he still hasn't paid her. And then even Tangent, Amber Heard said she donated
money got there.
That money still not there.
That he literally sent the money directly to the corporation, and the corporation testified in court. I watched the entire hearing. Testified that he had donated on her behalf. Mm-hmm. Cash and various other assets. Based on a prenuptial agreement and divorce papers state the property be split. $20 million in the divorce settlement. Damn. Hey, Musk. $20 million? Do it for 2. Cook you eggs and bacon. So one got $20 million. The second got $16 million. So where's she didn't get paid?
Wrapping up everything and saying you'll pay an amount doesn't mean that the money's going to be getting there in any timely manner. It's all money that doesn't exist. None of it's liquid.
$20 million after tax. That's $40 million. Holy shit. Not one headline says he didn't pay.
Has agreed to pay doesn't mean he has paid.
So it would be massive headlines, though, right? Even TMZ would run
all
that.
the shit goes under the rug. Boom, done. He pays them. It doesn't exist anymore.
I'm not finding it, but if we do, I'll definitely correct that statement. But I don't believe, and never have I heard, that he didn't pay his ex-wife. It looks to me like she got paid, and the second got paid, and the third got paid. First two are very expensive. The idea that everyone should be allowed to be on Twitter until they do something stupid, I don't think is unfounded. I think whether you're Trump, you're the Taliban, you're Hezbollah, you're the Pope, you should be able to be on social media without, if I'm a person who's never done anything wrong, I shouldn't be censored for my own opinion that does not harm directly or make threats against another person. So if I say, I think the sky is purple, I shouldn't have a corporation that's preserving the ozone coming after me saying that I'm trying to kill the ozone.
I mean, that's a fairly innocuous statement. It's different from the Pope saying gays suck and the harm that would come from that. These people have sway over the masses. They have
massive sway, yes. But we're talking about individuals, like not just the Taliban. The Taliban is just a group of people, right? So if any of those individuals who are in the Taliban, because it's not like a Taliban has one account. It's like Taliban. It's, generals, leaders, people who identify as Taliban leaders. They have Twitters. And they're allowed to because they're not doing anything crazy like sawing off heads or being involved on Twitter with acts of terrorism.
It still allows them to network and do their acts of terrorism.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Then it shouldn't belong.
That's the problem. Content moderation.
Drug cartel people shouldn't be on there either.
Exactly. I understand. As soon as they commit an actual felony, should not be.
It's all in the DMs.
But here's the thing. That's freedom of privacy, right? Or your protection of privacy.
It's enabling crime to take place.
There's a fine line. I do not believe that there should be anything private on social media. I think that everything should be moderated. I don't think there should be online as a public forum, but it's also privately owned. Those companies have an obligation to make sure that kids aren't being trafficked, that kids aren't being groomed. Most of my things become kids. Children should not be allowed to be tricked or maneuvered in any way on these sites, especially if you're making money from it. Use some of that money to protect children. They're the next you. Does not matter. And time flies. Before you know it, you're hiring them, then they're undercutting you for your position, then they're running your corporation. Watch out, Elon. Point being, freedom of speech is there. It needs to be there until somebody fucks up. Not that everyone can say what they want without consequence. Can we agree that consequence should not be free and clear?
A lot of people get away with a lot more than they should.
Exactly. That's why I think
there should be consequences.
There should be a team of people. There should be a lot more on moderation than there is nowadays. YouTube is a prime example of this. Their algorithm sucks. There are people that get their channels deleted for no reason. People that just do reaction videos. And it's fair use, no copy. There's different ones where it's like they're straight ripping and not talking or having a discussion. Like if we sat here and watched Dragon Ball Z, we'd get a content copyright strike just for saying the words. And then that company would hit us with 5 more strikes for the same video. And then you'd possibly get deleted if you don't appeal it or if you're not.
If they do enough strikes at once, they can get your account deleted immediately.
We've seen that before with somebody else who was doing One Piece, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And then he was also doing a bunch of anime reactions. But there are people who do they sit there and they just watch it and stream it. There's a difference between somebody who's critiquing, discussing, educating. Like, here's why this animator is doing it in this style. Here's why this animator probably drew this guy. I've seen a couple of Jujutsu Kaisen reaction videos where these artists will almost determine the colorway and their ideas and why this was drawn this way, why this person's hair is red. It invokes a different emotion in certain people. That's more creative and educational. But then you get people that are like, oh, I really like this episode. You should see it. Thanks. You're just ripping the content. It's like when we were kids and we had to put in 2 VCRs to watch Smallville, and we'd have to record to one and then it's sent to the second one and we'd both have a copy. That's bootlegging. That's all it is. And anyone can crop a video. Crop you out and then make the video. Oh no, I got a whole episode 628 of Dragon Ball and One Piece. Fun times. But I don't think that you should be able to threaten to burn somebody's house down. You should definitely be removed. You know what would be cool on Twitter is first strike. You say, hey, your person's a piece of whatever trash. Then you get a slap on the wrist, 7-day ban, but you have to take a questionnaire when you come back. What have you learned?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Or they lie, and then they're back on.
Exactly. But then it happens again, and then you have to take a class over 48 hours. You have 48 hours or your account's banned. Then, third time it happens, boom, you have to pay for an online sensitivity course that he could also sell. $49.
But then that's just squeezing money out of the system.
But it would also be a paywall to the idiots who would then go create another account that's not verified.
Falsely knock people off and force them to come on. Who gives a fuck? You're making their dollar.
There's always a good and a bad to every moderation. You get into why people pay to unban themselves on Facebook after using WhatsApp accounts and things like that. There's good and bad for all moderation. But if you go to the extreme, people would just immediately make a new account. But it gets old because I used to do the same thing with eBay back in the day. We would make a new account. But at some point it becomes inconvenient when you start doing the right thing. And then you have to use that account. And you're like, okay, now I got to build this up, verify, do everything, add the right accounts. Or not eBay, but Google Ads. So on Google Ads, I got banned, did a chargeback because I got banned, and they still charged me for another 3 weeks. What was it, $600, $750? Made a new account. I'm like, all right, well, I'm done doing this. And then I can't advertise. Like, my name cannot be on any Google Ads account because of one $750 charge that they should have ceased charging on the 30th and kept charging till the 14th. But I didn't have access to the account. All because of the word iPhone in the ban or in the ad banner. Fun times. But that really happened. Eventually, these people will either wake up and start doing things the right way and then being like, oh, you know what? I want a verified account, or I want to use this account for business, or I want to do something with my life and do it the right way and be looked at as a functional member of society. These are all things that have to be learned. You just don't get. Somebody's going to be real shitty if all they experience is the internet. So we don't know what his plan is. We'll see how it is. We know where we stand. What have we learned from this episode?
That we don't agree on what free speech is.
I don't.
Or censorship.
I would say that censorship.
Or women's rights.
No, that's not right. No. I believe and I do support abortion. Let me get that corrected. I have used, not personally, but I have been privy to, and we know this story. I've already put it out there. There has been an abortion in my past, multiple abortions in my past, and I am all for women and what they want to do with their bodies. It's their choice. There is a limit to what I personally believe is a living being. At some point, that being starts to emit brainwaves and start functioning and make choices. Whether it's up, down, breathe, in, out, kick, punch, squint, pull its dick, which I saw my son do. But difference. That's why there's certain aspects in certain states that they're like, hey, 15, 16, 20 weeks, whatever. I think all this throwing Roe v. Wade out is just going to harm the wrong people. I understand why they're like, no, we just don't want it in our hands. Great, cool, be a dick about it. But you're the only defense in the last how many years that people can say, hey, the absolute was Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade. And now the government's just not doing anything about it. States aren't rectifying?
Well, they had all the trigger laws,
yeah.
So they just immediately
And we understand. We had a whole episode about that. But let's not get it twisted that I don't support abortion, because I have benefited greatly. Otherwise, I'd have 8 fucking kids by now. Yeah, I know. But still. All right, everybody. We appreciate you hanging with us, debating with us, getting enlightened with us. If you enjoyed it, what do they got to do?
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Tell Grandma. Just
tell Grandma. I don't know why we're always talking about Grandma, but the grandmas love us.
It's half our customer base, and it's always elderly women with a bunch of kids. Just love the way you look, you talk, the help you give. It's just, mwah. and they always bring us cookies. Half the reason I'm fat, just the left half.
It's the Oreos they bring. We're suckers for them.
Reese's, Oreos, or the cup. What was it? The ice cream cake.
Yep.
Or cookie crumble. That was so good. It was so good.
Donuts.
It happened.
Don't tell your grandma. They're gonna stop bringing us snacks.
Bring us what is it? A Bowflex. Grandma, I know you're not using it, but and for the record, my grandparents are dead, both sides. So I'm not saying my grandma, but your grandma. Feel free to drop off a Bowflex at any time in Woodward, Oklahoma. That's where I'll be. God, it's 6 o'clock already. All right, it's closing time. We'll see you next time.
Life can be super happy, life can be super sad. I'm trying super hard to separate the good and bad. I go back to my future just to get to my past, but knowing me, my DeLorean will probably